Are you recording the
I am
session,
now.
please?
Yes, I am now. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. So that we can put it on the district YouTube channel and share it with the members of the district. So thank you, everyone. Welcome to a session on pathways. And hopefully this will answer some of your questions. And if you have more, you know where to reach out to us, and we can definitely make another session in the future. I just noticed that I have to switch on my video. Just a second. All right. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. That quote from Benjamin Franklin sums up what is best about the Toastmasters educational program. If you have been a Toastmaster for a while, you already know we learn by doing. Each of our assignments, no matter whether it is traditional educational program or pathways, it doesn't matter. Each of it is designed to teach us about a critical communication or a leadership topic. Teaching is a part of it, but it also gives an opportunity to practice and develop those related skills. In this room, we will find newbies or veterans who are enrolled in pathways. If you are already comfortable with pathways, I ask you to challenge yourself to become pathway guides, because when you teach someone, you learn more. But the bigger question is, how do you go forward in your educational journey? How to pick your path? Ken, as a pathways resource since 2017, how should I pick a path and navigate on the TI website?
Okay, over to me.
Yes, please.
All right. So again, as Shamala said, some of you are already going to know most of what we're going to talk about today. And if you do, hopefully you will become someone who can teach people in your club and even in other clubs how to work with pathways. First section we're going to talk about is, make sure I get on the right screen here, how to get started with pathways. The first thing you have to do, of course, is to go to the Toastmasters website, which is toastmasters.org, and log in. There's a button up at the top or a link up at the top to log in. When you click that link, you'll be able to enter your email address and your password. If you don't have a password, either because you've never had a password or you forgot your password, there's a link to click to forget your password, and they'll send you one that you can use temporarily. Once you're in, you come back to the home page, and to get into Pathways, there's a link at the top called Pathways. Big surprise there. So go ahead and click that link, and you'll get a choice of things that you can do, places you can go from there. And the one I always recommend is go to Basecamp. Basecamp is Toastmasters' term for the Pathways system. Not sure why they call it Basecamp, but that's what they call it. When you go to Basecamp, if you have never been in Pathways, this is what you'll see. There's a choose your path on the left and the navigator on the right. The navigator is something that explains pathways in Toastmasters to people who've never been part of Toastmasters, and we're not going to pay any attention to that. But on the left, choosing your path, there's a link at the bottom or a button that says continue to path selection. When you pick that, it will bring up a screen that gives you a couple of choices. How would you like to access your materials? And you have two choices there. One is digital resources, which means you're going to work the pathway system online. And I recommend this because there are more features that are available. And since you're watching this on a computer, you probably have access to it online. If you prefer, you can pay an extra $25 and have them send you materials printed in the mail. This is a more limited choice because out of the 11 possible paths that you could choose, Only 5 of them are available in printed materials. And as you work through the different projects, you get a much more limited choice of which projects you can work on. So I recommend that you choose the digital one if you can. I think most people will work that successfully. The other choice that you get once you've selected what kind of materials you'd like is how would you like to select the particular path you want to work on? One choice is just to select a basic presentation skills path called Presentation Mastery. A second choice is to take an online assessment, and we'll look at this in a few minutes, but basically they'll ask you a bunch of questions, and based on your answers to those questions, they'll recommend a path. And the third possibility is look at all the different paths and pick the one you want. There are at the moment 11 different paths. Each one has a 2-word name so that they can use a 2-letter abbreviation for it. Why are there so many paths? Most people join Toastmasters to learn to be a better presenter, but there are a lot of other reasons. Maybe you are a manager and you want to learn how to motivate employees. Maybe you have just taken over a leadership role in an organization and you want to learn some leadership skills. Maybe you're building your own business, and so you want to develop your team. So there are a lot of different reasons that you could choose for picking a different path. If you go to take the assessment, if you choose that option, they will start out and ask you, what are 3 areas you're interested in learning about? So you'll pick 3. Perhaps in this case, we pick public speaking, negotiation, and networking, but you can pick any 3. And then they'll take you through a series of about 25 questions. This is one, I know how to respond because I'm perceptive and attentive to others' behaviors. Well, do you agree? Do you disagree? I didn't know, so I said I was unsure. So go through the many different questions that they ask, and at the end, they will recommend, here's the path that we think best fits your choices that you made in this assessment. But you don't have to pick that path. You can pick any of the paths. So just consider the third choice, which is to look at all the different paths and pick one from all the different possibilities. And there's a good tool if you want to look at all the paths and see what is in each one. And that tool is the District 101 website, d101tm.org. If you go to the homepage, over on the right, there's an info menu. And if you look in the menu, pick the pathways choice. If you go to the information page on pathways at the D101 website, scroll down, you'll see a list of all 11 paths. And each one of these you can click on and it opens it up. And you get to see the different levels. There's 5 levels in each path and all the different projects that are available in each project. Now, I kind of liken a path to a college curriculum. There are some required courses at the beginning, and as you get more advanced, you get to choose some electives. There are always required courses and also some electives. So level 1 has 3 required projects you have to work on to complete level 1. Level 2 has 3 required projects. In level 3, there's a required project and 2 elective projects from a choice of about a dozen. I recommend that you look through these different paths, see what the projects are, and particularly look at levels 4 and level 5, because those are the most complicated projects, and those may be the ones that may take you the most time. For example, if in leadership type projects, when you get to level 5, the required project is going to have you be a leader in an organization for 6 months. Now, that could be Toastmasters, or it could be another organization, but it's over a 6-month period. And then you're going to get feedback from the people that you have led and worked with for 6 months. So maybe being involved in an organization for 6 months is not something you want to do. So don't pick that path. But look at all the different levels in the different paths and you can decide. And then you'll come back and pick the path that you want, one of these 11. By the way, we're going to take some questions at the end. So if you have any questions, write them down, make some notes, because we're going to move on now to navigation and navigating your way through pathways. Navigation sometimes gets kind of a bad reputation in pathways. People say, I don't know how to navigate. It's really not very complicated if you understand the basic structure of a path. with levels and paths, and levels and projects, and we'll take a look at that. If you've picked your path, when you come into pathways, this is what you'll see. And what we're interested in is the box in the middle that says go to Basecamp. Remember again, Basecamp is Pathways term for the Pathways system, or Toastmasters term for the Pathways system. When you go to Basecamp, this is the home screen for Pathways Basecamp. And there's a lot on here, but you really don't have to pay attention to most of it. The only things that are really important, at least at first, are the paths and learning, which is your transcript, your curriculum, so to speak, what projects you'll be working on, and speech evaluations. We'll talk a little bit about evaluations a little later. So to get started in Pathways, click on the Paths and Learning button, and that will bring up a screen that looks like this. Your path, the chosen path, in this case mine is Engaging Humor, will show. And then over at the right, there's a button that says Open the Curriculum. And this opens the Pandora's box of all the projects you can work on. So click on Open Curriculum. And before we get to what that looks like, just a reminder that within a path, the structure of a path is there are 5 levels, cleverly labeled 1 through 5. And within each level, there are projects. Some are required and some are elective. So now let's take a look at what happens when you open your curriculum. This is what you see. Initially, you'll come into level 1, and it shows here level 1 is 0% complete. None of the projects have been done yet. I'm going to show you here a screen from a different speaker who has completed level 1. You can see that level 1 is 100% complete. And if you look at the required projects, each one has a check mark next to it, showing that it's been completed. And then there is a final project, the actual completion of the project to get 100% complete. You can see over on the left, it's the left-hand column. There's level 1 and level 2 have check marks. Those are both 100% complete. And the whole curriculum, all 5 levels together, is 48% complete, or almost half complete. So let's take a look at level 2. Level 2 for this speaker, all of the projects are checked off. Again, it's 100% complete. They've finished each one. This is level 3 for that same speaker. You can see that it shows that the person is 50% complete. And let me go back one. They've finished their required project, which is called Present a Proposal. And the elective projects, 2 are required, 1 has been completed. And so that part is only half complete. To see the elective projects in levels 3, 4, and 5, there's a button to the right called View Details. If you click that button, it will bring up a whole screen full of all the different projects that you can choose. There's too many to fit easily on the screen, but there are about 12 or 13 items, and you get to pick 2. You can do more than 2, but 2 are required. Here, one of the 13 has been completed, one called Connect with Storytelling, and the others have not been done yet. So just for interest, I've also showing you here level 5. You can look at all the different levels. And level 5, it's 0% complete right now because neither the required project nor the elective project have been done. It's important to realize that at any time, you can work on any project in any level. You don't have to do them in order. You don't have to do level 1, then level 2, then level 3. You can work on any project at any level in any order. But as Shama will explain later, you don't get credit for them until you've completed the levels 1 and then level 2 and then level 3. You can't get credit for completing all the projects in level 2 until you've completed the projects in level 1. But that's a complication we don't need to worry about here. So this is how to find your way around pathways and see what level you're working on and look at the different projects in those levels. The next thing we want to take a look at is once you have gotten into a level, how do you work on a particular project? Here again is level 1 for this particular speaker, who happens to be me. And none of these projects have been done yet. So to start a project, you have to launch it. and there's a button to the right of the project named called Launch. The other two buttons, as you'll see for those other two projects, say Activate. You can't launch a project until it's activated. So if you click on the Activate button, it will change it to Launch, and then you can launch it. When you launch a project, it opens up to a screen in a different tab or a different window, depending on your browser. Cover page for a project, and click on the link that says Begin, and it will start you through different screens that describe the different pieces of the project. Here, there's just an introduction. Again, this is the icebreaker project, so it talks about an icebreaker activity. To the right of every little window of the project, there's an arrow to move forward and an arrow on the left to move back if you want. The next screen is an introduction just describing the beginning of the project and what's going to take place inside it, the culmination. Go to the next screen and it tells you what your assignment is, what you're going to have to do. Now on this screen, there's a link to what's called the project checklist, which you can ignore or you can look at if you want. But if you click that, it opens up a PDF, which you can download and print, or you can just look at it on screen or just glance at it and move on. But it shows you what the steps are for the project, a checklist of the things to go through as you're working through the project. The next part of every project, every one of the projects you'll work on, is an important section called Assess Your Skills Before. Each project is going to teach you some skills. And so they have you take a look at how well you feel you are developed with those skills before you start the project. And they're going to ask you the same questions at the end after you've completed it to see how much you've learned as a result of working on this project. So you will see down at the bottom, there are 6 dots showing that there are 6 questions that they ask. For the first question here is, I'm confident and calm when speaking in front of groups. Rate yourself 1, no confidence at all, 5, as confident as anyone could possibly be, or somewhere in the middle. So just give yourself a number. It doesn't matter what number you pick. It's you assessing yourself. Click on the next button and go to the next question. When you've completed all 6 of these, or 6 of the questions, you move on to the next part of the project. For the icebreaker, this is a screen that has a little video which you can watch talking about an icebreaker project. At this point, there are a bunch of screens that will talk about how to organize a speech, what the different parts of a good speech are, and different things about an effective speech. So eventually you'll work through those and you'll schedule your speech, you'll give your speech to your club, and you'll come to the end, you've finished. Once you've completed all the steps, you'll come to a screen that says complete your assignment. And moving on to the next screen is the important thing, assess your skills after. And again, they're going to ask you 6 questions. This is the second of the 6. I understand the structure of a basic speech. Now, you may have the same rating as you had before, or you may have a better rating. It's up to you. You are choosing. But at the end of every project, you go through this step and assess your skills following it. Once you've completed all 6 of these questions, it will bring up a button at the bottom that says Submit. This is a very important button because this is how you tell Pathways you've completed the project. Remember back when we were looking at the levels, you saw the little check mark next to projects that had been completed. That's because the speaker, when they assessed their skills after, had clicked the Submit button, and that told Pathways it was done. You finished that project. This is a problem that we find with a lot of speakers. They'll start a project, they'll work through it, they'll prepare the speech, they'll schedule the speech, they'll give the speech to their club, and they never tell Pathways that they're finished. And so Pathways never gives them credit. In fact, yesterday, I gave a speech in my club to do one of these projects, and I haven't yet completed the assess your skills after, and I haven't marked it complete yet. So I forgot myself to do that. So it's important that you do this so that Pathways knows you've completed the project. One more tip for helping to navigate your way around Pathways and projects is to download your project in a PDF form. So if you go to any of the screens in your project, down at the bottom, you will see a pop-up menu. It's to allow you to move within the project, you don't have to go screen to screen to screen to screen. You can zip around through any different section within the project. If you click that menu, it brings up a pop-up menu, and here are the different sections of the project. And to print a copy of your project that you're going to be working on, the second to the bottom item in this list in all projects is called Your Evaluation. If you click on that link, you go to the Your Evaluation screen for the project. And the second screen here is called Print My Project. If you click that, it will bring up a PDF of the entire project. Everything that was on all those screens is printed into a PDF. So this is the cover, a table of contents, and you'll see the picture and the text that was on those first couple of screens of the project. The PDF has the entire project. A tip I recommend, this is what I do anyway, is when I come into a path, I open up every single project and download the PDF of every single project to my hard drive. That way I can then go back and look at every project and figure out which ones I want to work on, what's involved in each one, and never have to go online again until I start to work on it. And when I go to work on it, then I go in and assess my skills and go through the steps in the project online. But having a PDF downloaded allows me to look at the whole path and all the projects in it without ever having to go back online. So that's taking a look at a project itself. I want to just talk for a minute about evaluations in pathways. It's important in Toastmasters, as you know, we just had an evaluation contest. Evaluations are the key to effective development in Toastmasters because you get some feedback on what you did well and the areas you can improve. Every project in Pathways has an evaluation form, which they call an evaluation resource. And the first page has some general questions about what the speaker did well. The second page has some specific areas that you can rate the speaker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, and the other aspects of an effective speech. And there's always a question or two at the bottom about the particular goals of that project. So every single project has one of these forms. If you are a speaker, it's your job to make sure that your evaluator has this form for your project. Where do you get it? If you go back to that screen we talked about where you can print my project, you open up the menu and down at the bottom it has a Your Evaluation. Go there. Go to that page and the evaluation resource form, it's a PDF. There's a link to it on that page. So if you're the speaker, again, go to this page, download the evaluation form. In the old days when we actually used to meet, you could hand the evaluation form to your evaluator. But these days it's a PDF, just email it to them and then they can fill it out and email it back to you. What if you're an evaluator for a speaker and they didn't send you the evaluation form? What do you do? Remember when we first came into Pathways, up at the top link was Path and Learning to get into your path. But there's another link on that page for speech evaluations. If you click that link, it'll take you to a page where you can see down at the bottom a scrollable list of all the paths in Pathways. There are some 65 or more paths, 65 or more different projects available in all the different paths. So you can find the one that the particular speaker is working on, click that, and it will let you see the evaluation form. You can download it for that speech and give them their evaluation. But one more thing on this page, which I think is worthwhile looking at, and that's a link up in the top called Review the How to Evaluate tutorial. And I suggest, even if you are an experienced evaluator, watch this tutorial because it describes how to give an evaluation in Pathways. In particular, it describes what the scoring is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's a 1? What's a 2? What's a 3? And it shows you samples of a speech. You get to evaluate and rate that speaker in the tutorial, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they show you what an experienced Pathways evaluator would rate that speaker. So it shows you how to fill out this form. So watch the tutorial, and then you'll be able to do an effective evaluation in Pathways. And now, Shamla is going to talk about how to work with different speech topics.
Thank you. All the screens that Ken just showed are created as YouTube videos and are on the district website for your usage. So please review them so that it's self-explanatory and super easy to understand. So now that you are done with how to navigate in pathways and review the projects, paths, levels, everything, the big question that comes up to my mind at least is, what speech? How do I give this? Before we go into that, I want to ask, how many of you give speeches without a project? Please, please, please don't raise your hand for this. Few years ago, in one of our weekly club meeting, my fellow Toastmaster once said, never give a speech without a project. Why? We might give a great speech, but we have missed a learning opportunity that the Toastmasters program provides. I understand that sometimes we may not have the speech material that is required for our next project. But as Ken mentioned earlier, we can do any project in any level and in any path, which also means your evaluator can actually look at the form to work when giving you feedback. It's a win-win situation for both you at a personal level and also to not put your educational program on a long hold. There are so many electives. They differ slightly. How do you how do you even pick up a project? How do you even know what to do? If you really look at some of these things, if you are doing a generic speech or a factual speech or a visual aid speech or a personal speech, you are already doing pathways. So the next time when you say, oh, I don't know what project I can do for this speech, let's review where you can tie this back to your speech material. If you are doing a leadership speech, a project speech, or a topic master, which is a table topics master, you are actually doing a pathway project. Get credit. If you are a club officer or a district officer, or you are attending an event just like now, make connections through networking is one of the projects that you can cover, or you can host one of the events. All of these are tied to a path in a project. Let me show what I did when I was looking at my own things. This is my little cheat sheet. The other day I was thinking I was stuck on level 1 for the longest time. If you see here, my level 1 was completed in November. And since then, I did not do anything in my pathways. The reason why I couldn't do anything is because I was stuck. I don't know where my project goes or where my speech goes, what to tie, where to tie, no idea. So I actually understand when someone says, I don't know what speech to give or what project to work on. I completely understand because this tells me how stagnant I was for past few months. Then one fine day I said, no, this is not working for me well because I don't have a goal. I don't have something to look forward to. What are my objectives when I'm doing a speech, when I'm doing a event? That's when I thought, let's put this together. I absolutely fell in love with this little Excel sheet because it will help me to select whatever path I'm working on. It will tell me what are the required paths that I have to do and what are the elective paths. For each of these what are the elective projects, sorry, in each of these paths. And based on that, I can do this. For example, I'll go to path 2 that I'm working on. I'm currently working on 2 paths. If you look here, this particular session I'm currently doing, I'm actually using it for my level 4 and a project 2 as an elective. If you see, I haven't done any of this yet. Can I submit it? No, because I haven't done my level 1, 2, 3, all of this. But will I be able to get credit for this? Definitely yes. Will I be able to complete it on Pathways Basecamp? Yes. Can I submit it on level 4? So no. So Shabir asked a question a little earlier saying that how can I complete my project? You can complete the project, but you cannot get credit for level 4 because I don't have credit for level 1, 2, 3 in here. So until I complete my level 1, level 2, level 3, only then, even though I completed this project, I won't get credit until I complete the other levels. So when you are about to do a role, when you are about to give a speech, just like how Ken explained, everything is on the district webpage where you can expand those paths, projects, and have a review around it. What am I currently doing? What is it that I can get credit for? It takes time, but it's worth every minute because I'm actually looking forward to the evaluation that Ken is going to provide me after this. If I have to repeat this session, if I have to repeat this project, I'm more than happy to do that because I did not meet my objectives as effectively as I want to be. The whole idea of doing a speech is not to just check it out, saying I'm done. The whole idea of doing a project is to learn what Pathways is offering you. So, my question to all of you is, are you looking at what objectives are in this project? Are you meeting the objectives? What was your grading, self grading in the beginning of the project? And how did you improve after the project? Even though Pathways doesn't say this, even though the Toastmasters doesn't say it, but I want to ask you, are you considering to repeat a project, repeat a path just to improve whatever the program is offering? The next time you give a speech, the next time you work on a project, I strongly recommend have a look at it. If you are a club officer or a contest chair or a conference chair, it doesn't matter what leadership role you take, every one of them can be tied to one or the other pathway projects. It doesn't matter which one. So pick one. Say, for example, you are currently being a club coach or a mentor. Then maybe level 3, wherever you have these, that is one of the paths that you can pick and work on it so that you actually make a difference as a club coach and a club mentor. Similarly, uh, say for example, you are attending district events. Have you made enough connections today? Yes, fantastic. But do you even know what the project objectives are? Honestly speaking, I don't know because I did not look at this project yet. But the next time I come to a district event, I'm pretty sure I'll read this, make a note of it, what the project objectives are, and come prepared so that I can actually get evaluated. If you continue to work like this on your pathways, what is it that's going to happen eventually? Anyone? That's absolutely right. You will continue to work on becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. The reason why I'm even talking about this is there are 5 building blocks in becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. One is education, the other one is building upon your leadership skill from club to district. And the third section of it is completely different. It's not a direct leadership. It is indirect leadership because you are influencing somebody, which is even more harder. What does it really mean to become a distinguished Toastmaster? You are doing these roles to become a complete communicator and a leader in all facets that are available out there. Each one of this is going to help you. It all depends on how you prepare. So the whole criteria of becoming a distinguished Toastmaster is on how you build upon your projects, how you build upon the objectives that the project is providing you, how you are using the Toastmasters program to make sure that you actually do this in a more effective way. Some of these are self paced, just like how Ken mentioned, some of these are long term. It is extremely important for you to plan these roles a little in advance, little ahead of time, because some of these may not happen instantly. Say, for example, becoming a club mentor and a club coach, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It actually takes time just first to get the position, and on top of that, getting the results out of it. So it's important to reach out and plan ahead to make sure that you have your end result as per your plan. Even though this is Toastmasters program, how are you really going to use this outside of Toastmasters? Let's see what transferable skills are you building in this process. When you are giving speeches, you are actually building communication competences. When you're doing the club leadership, you are building within a small group of officers, you are building collaboration and decision making. Take it to the next level. It is a challenge, but it is all worth it. I'm sure some of you must have done these roles, and you are going to go back and take up these roles because you have become a better leader in the process. Club extension and club support are mentoring individuals. Leading is one, but mentoring is a different ball game altogether. For one, you learn more than you give. So I actually think mentoring is the hardest thing. Maybe you have a different opinion. Please do share with us. If you want to take up any of these roles at the club level, please reach out to your club officers. At the district level, you can always reach out to me and we can direct you to the right team members. Now that you know what it means to complete a project, complete a path, how do you actually get credit? Because submitting from your side that the level is complete is only a part of it. There is more to it, which your VP of Education has to do. Ken, do you want to briefly explain how this is done?
I think we would be better off skipping that. I think that we have a lot of questions that have come up in the chat, and
Oh, yes.
we can answer some of those. And I think that would be a better use of our time than talking about the Basecamp manager, because we only have a few questions left.
Perfect.
So what
That's
one
fine.
of the
Yep.
so why don't you take a look and see some of the questions? I'll while you're looking, I'll just answer one that Diane sent in. It says, if I download the project PDF to review and then complete the before and after surveys, is that all I have to do? Unfortunately, yes. That's a problem with Pathways, is that you could mark yourself complete on a project without having done the project. And so that's the job of the Basecamp manager or your VP education, to know that you haven't done the project and not give you credit for completing that level until you have done it. So this is a mistake that Pathways allows, and it's too bad.
Ken, there's another question from Dennis, which says, does the district area provide mentors or teachers to help mentor low-tech, non-tech savvy members? Primarily because this presentation is going over their head, and the previous sessions also didn't help them as much.
What I answered for him was is start with the VP education in the club and other club members who know that you can work with personally. And if that's not available, then people can get in touch with me or either of us.
Yes, and we also have area directors and division directors who are driven to make sure that the pathways adoption is as smooth as possible. So, Dennis, please do send me an email and I can direct you to the right people, please.
Okay. And another question we have from Bob, which was seconded also, is that as an accomplished speaker, I was an accomplished speaker when I joined. I've been in Toastmasters for 20 years, and I just rejoined a couple of years ago. Now I feel pretty useless because Pathways is unusable for me. What do I do?
I'll let you take that, Shamla.
I really understand, Bob, because it is the 180-degree turnaround from what we had before in the traditional educational path versus pathways. But it's not as bad as it seemed because I was in the same boat few months ago. I was not having a direction. I couldn't really proceed forward. And my biggest problem where I had was how can I direct the district members to go into pathways if I'm not convinced myself? If I'm not doing it, I cannot go and ask club members to get onto pathways. So one way to self motivate ourselves is to become a mentor. Please become a mentor to another newbie. You have so much of experience. 20 years as a Toastmaster is more than what we can ask for. With so much of experience that you have built over the years, you have so much of knowledge, so much of guidance you can give to a newbie. Pathways is just a tool, but what you can contribute to a person's growth as a member, as a leader, is tremendous. Become a member. In the process, you will learn. You will get onto pathways, you will get comfortable, just like how we were talking about a little earlier. We will have someone to guide you. If your VP of education is not efficient enough, I wouldn't call efficient, sorry, that was the wrong word. If VP of education also needs help, then we will make sure that we reach out to area director and division director, and if it means that we reach out to Ken or me, we will do that. So bring it up, please. We will send a survey form. Let us know when you are in need of people coming over. I think the hardest thing is taking the first step. And the first step becomes easy when you become a mentor. You don't have to be a pathway guide to become a mentor. With 20 years of Toastmasters experience, I think you can add more value than pathways adoption.
Thank you. Next question is Ken was asking, when does Navigator help in navigating Pathways? Is there any way to send a evaluation form or resource from within Pathways?
I would, if you're going to give me that one, Shamla, I would ignore Navigator. It's unless you're brand new to Toastmasters, it has no value for you. So just ignore the Navigator. And no, there is not a way to send evaluations within Pathways. Email.
Thank you. Another question we have is there a sample spreadsheet similar to the one that Shamla displayed that we can download and members can use?
We will try to put it on the district website shortly. We're just trying to clean it up a little more to see if there is anything else that we can improve. Just put that together, the PQ team put together in the last 2 weeks. So we'll just, I'm the guinea pig to test that Excel. So, hopefully we will have a better version very soon. And yes, I will send an email very shortly in less than a week's time.
Thank you. Next question we have is, if I choose to from Joseph, if I choose to complete, then repeat an entire module, does my club get credit for my progress to the second or third completion of a path?
Nishant, I didn't get your question, sorry.
So basically, if they complete a module and then they repeat an entire module, does a club get credit for the progress through the second or third completion of a path?
Are you referring to the same member?
Yes, same member if they do it again. do they get credit again, or do they have to start a new pathway? I believe.
A new path, but the level ones and level twos are mostly repeating. So I would rather say pick a second path and repeat what you wanted to improve in level one and level two from a different path. At
Okay.
least that's what I'm about to do.
Okay.
And just a quick note, I know we are a
We'll
minute
define
over
that.
time. There is a